Hello? Testing? Testing? Thank you, everyone. So why don't we get started with the third presentation. Hello, everyone. Sophia. So this is the third of four presentations, developer applications for the 135 Dudley Street, also known as the B2 site. Can everyone be quiet, please, so we can continue? Okay. Thank you, everyone. So this is the third of four presentations, 135 Dudley Street, AKA B2 site. With us right now is the Teacher's Place. They will have 15 minutes presentation, and we'll follow that with a 15-minute comment and public questions.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a Baptist. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the few people in this room that I do not know. My name is Joseph Feaster. I am the president of Feaster Enterprises, an attorney with McKenzie & Associates, and I'm a partner in Teacher's Place. Like my good brother, Louis Elisa, I'm a past president of the Boston branch NAACP and currently chair the board of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. Teacher's Place, as you can see, the diversity that we have on our team. Not diversity just in terms of race and in terms of gender. We have it in terms of skills. We have persons who are local teams. We have persons who are national and global teams. But we have come together in order to present to this community a great project. Now, we only have 15 minutes, so we're going to have to do our elevator speech to you this morning. So what you are going to learn as we go through our proposal, you're going to learn about what we're trying to do in terms of to ensure that persons who teach our children, persons who work in our community as secretaries and paraprofessionals and police officers and firefighters are going to be able to live at Teacher's Place. You're going to learn through our design development that we have all types of, we are doing creative spaces, which are going to be talking about for both for rental as well as housing, but also for the creation of small businesses. You heard from other teams that there are going to be retail spaces. Well, we're going to have retail spaces which are going to be small enough for startup opportunities as well as providing the type of technical assistance. You're going to learn that we're going to have affordability. We're going to have units which are for rent and some for persons for home ownership, which will be allowed for people who have annual incomes of less than $25,000 who will be able to live at Teacher's Place. You're going to learn about our opportunities with respect to having a micro fund where persons from the community can participate at lower dollars in the sense of investing in this investment as part of the community. And you will also learn about our giving $300,000 for nonprofit organizations. And beside that, there is, on the equity side in this project, minority equity participation. So let us begin.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Linda Morgan. I'm with RBH Group, a private real estate development firm that's based in Newark, New Jersey, and I'm really excited to come here today to join local developers, Urbanica, and the community builders and our team to bring a Teacher's Place project to Dudley Square. An inspiration for this project is work that our company did in downtown Newark, a project called Teachers Village, which transformed vacant parking lots near City Hall into a community for like-minded individuals that included teachers and other neighbors, comprised of 200 rental apartments of workforce housing pre-marketed to teachers for public, private, and charter schools, 3 schools and a daycare center, and 18 retail stores that were operated by local and minority entrepreneurs. And that includes things like a pediatric dentist, a bakery, a local gym, consignment store, African dance store, and a bank. 1,000 kids a day come 6 days a week to this area of downtown that was formerly vacant, really populating and energizing the street in a way that we hadn't seen before in downtown Newark. 70% of the apartments are occupied by educators, which gives it a wonderful sense of community as they stay late to coach basketball teams and to do tutoring in their apartments, and really working around the clock to be the kind of teachers that they want to be in the community where they live and teach. In addition, the project provides a lifelong learning center, which we call the Q, where residents and community members can further their degrees, get a certificate in areas that they want to exceed and excel in. They can take classes and workshops in things like remedial math or education in English, coding, financial planning, entrepreneurial training. Those kinds of continuing education opportunities in each community we work in, we work with the local neighborhood to understand what your needs are for training and continuing education. Other RBH projects, Teachers Village projects that we're working on currently are in Hartford, Connecticut. A new Teachers Village is opening up next month next to the Amtrak station on Bushnell Park downtown, in Chicago, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Miami, and Atlanta, and hopefully in Boston as well. In each community we work in, we build upon the neighborhood assets that are here to create a really beautiful sense of place that is sustainable, accessible, and affordable to those who already live here, so that people can afford to live where they work and not have to drive 1 or 2 hours to work downtown. They can live right here. We want people to put down roots and invest in this community, so it's used as a recruitment tool for educators as well as to retain the people who already work here and keep the community affordable. There are 10 schools in Roxbury that represent over 1,000 educators of all ages, whether they are new in their careers, such as the AmeriCorps tutors that we have living and working at Teachers Village, or they are coming towards the end of their career where they want to retire. Teachers Place will be affordable and accessible to all of those people. We look forward to working with you to bring this project to Dudley Square. And next, Jeffrey's going to tell us a little bit about the design.
Thanks, Linda. My name is Jeffrey Burchard. I'm an architect. I'm a partner at a firm called Majora Carter. Our office is about a mile up Harrison Avenue. Thrilled and honored to present to you today. Whenever we start an architectural project, we first go back and look at the history and the cultural richness of the place that we're working, wherever it is. If we look back at the history of Dudley Square, this was a place in the turn of the century that was thriving. It was full of businesses, it was full of religious houses, it was full of housing, it was full of retail and shops and education, all put together in a dense, connected neighborhood. Over the next 150 years, we can see how urban renewal, other kinds of development have wiped out that kind of a density, disconnected the neighborhood from itself, created large buildings and blank, empty parking lots. There's two main principles that we want to bring back here. One is the idea of a connected neighborhood. The second one is the idea of a diverse and dense neighborhood. Right? If we look at this plan, the idea is that a series of public spaces are made and connected from the bowling building that we're in, through Dudley Station, through Teachers Plaza, up to the fields behind the Boys and Girls Club. The idea of density and diversity is very important, and the kind of scale of the building. We've got 261 mixed income units in this project. That's 100 more than you're seeing in the other teams, but it's placed in a series of 8 buildings that appear to be smaller. It brings back the scale and the diversity of that kind of public spaces that existed in Dudley Square 100 years ago. If we zoom into the ground floor, we can see a lot of interesting characteristics as this kind of small scale building brings to the public space. So you can see right in the heart of this is Teachers Plaza, which is directly across Dudley Street from the station. We'd propose a mid-block crossing there so that people can walk right across the street right into the Teachers Plaza. That is surrounded by these micro markets that you're going to hear a little bit more about, 100 to 200 square foot units of affordable commercial space. Along the street, there's other retail opportunities. Then behind, you can see Teachers Plaza, and then there's the gardens sort of in the middle of the block. This is a place for children's play, for community gardens, for other kinds of smaller community events. You can see that there's fitness centers, events halls, and then this Q space that Linda mentioned a little bit earlier, which is a place for education and learning in the heart of Dudley Square. There's also places for live work, apartments fronting the gardens and towards the north. Also the idea here is, again, this idea about connectivity, that the way that these buildings are situated, the way that the public spaces are situated, gives an opportunity for a new kind of cross-connectivity across the block, but also around the neighborhood, so that people might even be able to get all the way up to St. James Street from through this development. This is a photograph or a rendering of that Teachers Plaza, which is right in the heart of it. This is a good scaled urban space with a density of units around it that creates a thriving place 24/7. It's not a 9-to-5 place. It's surrounded by local businesses. Imagine that you're coming or going from Dudley Station, you're getting off the bus, you're coming across the street, stopping at one of these local businesses and buying something that's locally sold, locally produced, and you're a local customer. Again, an image of the play space behind and the community gardens, creating more of a residential feel so that there's both urban spaces and sort of more residential community-based feelings in this development. Finally, I just want to mention that the materials and the forms are really sourced from the context. The kind of rich materials of the bowling building, the idea of brick being here used as terracotta, but also the use of the forms of the building to create a really vibrant street. So not a flat street wall, but something that has eddies and little areas and pockets where there can be cafes and other kinds of trees and public activities set up. I'm just going to turn it over to Lydia now. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lydia Scott. I'm a development project manager with the Community Builders. TCB is a leading nonprofit, affordable, and mixed-income housing developer. We work in 14 different states, but we were founded in 1964, about 6 blocks from here. We're still headquartered in Boston, and we consider Boston to be our home. We're really excited to be working with both Urbanica and RBH to provide the residential component for this project. In our proposal for Teachers Place, we are hoping to construct 261 residential units, 100 of which would provide for-sale home ownership opportunities at a range of sizes and different price points, as well as provide 161 rental units, again, available at a range of unit sizes and prices that would be accessible to 5 different income brackets. Overall, 77% of the units in Teachers Place would be income restricted. To give you a sense of what kind of incomes could be eligible to live in Teachers Place, it could be a single person earning less than $23,000 a year, all the way up to a household of 6 earning more than $125,000 a year. Since sometimes it's difficult to visualize different income levels, we wanted to give you a sense of what occupations could match the individuals that we'd like to see living in Teachers Place. It could be a teacher and a barista, it could be a single mother and several children and she's a teacher, or it could be someone who works in construction or a dental hygienist. We understand that those individuals already live in this neighborhood. We want to be able to retain their housing choice and their housing opportunity here, as well as attract other households and families that might want to benefit from the amenities that Teachers Place is going to provide. Thank you.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Majora Carter, and I'm an urban revitalization strategist and a real estate developer from the South Bronx in New York City. I've got 20 years of experience. I've worked on transforming dumps into parks, a really successful green-collar job training and placement system. As an entrepreneur, I created a tech company that actually provided entry-level jobs to young people in our community to build a foundation for them to develop their careers. I also opened up the Boogie Down Grind, a cafe, which is a hip-hop themed cafe and experience that provides local jobs as well as opportunities for community and culture to connect. I'm also really grateful to be working with the community builders on a really excellent mixed-use project in Indianapolis as well. But this thing about development and displacement, I wrestle with that because I was born, raised, and still live and work in the South Bronx in New York City, which is very much considered often like Roxbury, a place where there's people were defined by it being low income or high unemployment or people with being involved in the criminal justice system. But we also know, being from these neighborhoods, the sense of pride and dignity that we have and the fact that we know the talent that is already in our communities as well. But I also know that in terms of how we function that way, this development without displacement thing is something what Teachers Place is all about. It's how do we, in fact, give an example of that development without displacement, show that growth can actually do that as well. And so the Teachers Place, with a combination of both mixed income housing, home ownerships and rental, but also the economic development that's really all about it. We need the critical density of 261 new units of housing, and and all the people that are involved in that. And I'm really happy, Ms. Grant, that we're going to be working with you on how do we make sure that those specific opportunities for small businesses can actually be developed and supported. As an entrepreneur, I wish I had these kind of opportunities because number one, there's affordable space. You have a commitment from this team to make sure that that happens, but we also have a commitment from the Eastern Bank Program to provide access to capital as well as technical business development experience for those local new burgeoning entrepreneurs that actually want to stay local and set up shop in your own community, which is exactly what we should be doing when we think about the growth and development of our own communities. It should be by us and for us and include us in every single way. And this is the team that is actually going to help you do that. Thank you.
And in my 30 seconds to wrap up, I just want to say with Sister Grant, the team she referred to, we were the ones that came to her to speak about the opportunity for economic development. I'll talk more about the investment programs and all during the Q&A because I want to get a gold star from John as well.
Very nicely done. 3 out of 3 extra credit, 15 minutes.
I like
So-
stars.
Okay, so why don't we'll go to the comment and question period. Yes, come on down here, please. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Hakuna. I work for the Boston Public Library. We are right next door to the spot. I should just say the Boston Public Librarians are paid much lower than the teachers and firefighters, police officers. Are we going to be able to live in the space right next door to us and in the community that we're serving? Also, just to every developer, a question about when you're thinking about innovation spaces and all these different kind of like sort of enrichment and creative opportunities. So the library is there, and that's not to say you can't do your own things, but how does that work with the public institution that is there for free? How do we, kind of sort of build that up in the community as well when you have like an innovation center with computers aside from, right beside another building where there's free computer use? That's.
Hi, I'm Bart Mitchell. I'm CEO of the Community Builders. I thought I'd answer the question. Absolutely is the answer. There's housing affordable to people that work in the library. For somebody that makes $22,000 a year, the rent would be about $550 a month. Response to some of the questions that were asked earlier, if somebody's making $58,000, the rent would be less or equal to about $1,400 a month. So there's people at different incomes available. There's been a lot of talk about percentages. I just wanted to point out, just maybe versus the immediate previous proposal, the total number of affordable apartments is 40% more in our proposal. The total number of unrestricted income apartments is 120% more. So there's more housing, which also creates more density, more chance to have enough customers for the businesses. Retail rents as low as $500 or so a month for a whole store.
And with response to the question about the library's curriculum, we would be really happy to work with you and all the institutions, civic institutions around this location on programming our continuing education to take advantage of the resources that are already here. In Newark, we're partnering with a local university because they have the curriculum already. In Hartford, we're working with local teachers, and in Chicago, we're working with a Puerto Rican cultural center that has a whole bunch of programs that they want to do, both on-site and then also off-site, only a couple blocks away. So we're totally open to working with those who are here to make sure it's what you want in your community.
Yeah, come on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paul Goodnight, and I'm a Vietnam veteran. Thanks for now for talking about Vietnam veterans. I'm also an artist. One of the things that I thought about when I was listening to the presenters is that the the affordable spaces for artists would be on a lottery system. That, to me, seems like anybody can come in here and be a part of that lottery system. And the artists that are already here have got to be a part of that lottery system. And of course, if we are, then we are going to be losing that space, because we know that doggone well that you're not going to choose just the people who live in the area. I think the lottery should be amongst the artists who live in Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and those people who are here, so we can develop a partnership with each other, because we do raise revenue for the area here. And a lot of times we're thought of as just artists. No, we're business people too. And we basically, if we get that chance to be able to develop that, and this was the first time that I saw up on the board that you have artists live in workspaces, and it was a big blue area, and I appreciate that. So that's all I have to say.
Can I answer something?
I gotta move on. That was a comment. Yes. Coming from the back. I'm sorry. You were with the other team. You cannot.
A comment.
No, I'm
Much
sorry.
more of a comment.
Maybe he wasn't here when we had a little intro. Developers are invited to participate in the room, but you can only comment or talk while it's during your presentation. Yeah, actually, one second, Charles. Wait, one sec. Yes. Get a little workout.
Hello.
You can come right to here.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sylvia. And the question I wanted to ask is, what rent will you charge the retail businesses that are already present, and will you make it affordable for them? Born and raised, I need to know that. Thank you so very much.
My name is Cameron Zahidi, principal at the Urbanica. Is that? Yeah. The rents for the retail space is plus or minus $500 a month, but we are willing also to assist the retailers to assist them for financial to make that happen. But I think small markets is been successful in Roxbury, and I think this place, can be their natural home and not only temporary and more permanent home,
Appreciate you have a question. And then we'll go to Charles.
Sorry, come up. I have questions about, full disclosure, I should say, I used to work for the community builders. My aunts are, one is a retired teacher that started a restaurant in Tennessee. Another one works for BPS in East Boston. And she is one of 2 teachers of color in that school. So the issue, I like the issue of focusing on or taking a field and focusing on that to build housing around that or occupation, but BPS has problems, right? Recruiting and retaining teachers of color. So again, it's that we're pushing people of color out of the community because we don't have the numbers there to sustain teachers of color right now as part of this development. So that's an issue. The other piece is around, I know Cameron, I have deep respect for Cameron, but I'm also concerned that there was a bait and switch on the hotel, because it stated that it was for the residents of Roxbury. Councilor Janey went there to grab a snack and sit down and have libations with some residents, and was told that you cannot do that unless you are staying at the hotel. That's a problem, and that there are doors that are closed to the community. So this bait and switch in terms of what you're actually presenting and what actually takes place is concerning to us. So we need to be clear about, or you need to be clear about what you're actually putting on paper and going to offer us and what actually takes place.
In regard to the hotel, I was there last night. This issue that the hotel management and operator said is only for the residents. They said for a short time. Last night, the bartender told me they are going to open to the public. They just need sometimes to get basically familiar with the area, familiar with their staff, and they know this is very concern that I have, but I think probably it's reasonable to give them like a month to get basically trained so they can open to the public. But the bartender last night told me they are going to open to the public. And I'm with the community in this subject, so I really not, and I'm just going to make sure that will happen.
Okay, Charles?
Charles Coalfield, this question will be for this presenter and the next about will you use a contractor that focuses on Boston hiring goals, number one, and number two, using a contractor that provides an opportunity for people to make a living wage so you're able to afford to live in this city and retire with dignity with a pension and annuities and all the other good things that we need.
I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, my name is again Cameron from Urbanico. Urbanico is signatory to the Carpenters Union. For this project, we basically creating a joint venture between 4 union contractors. One is the Urbanico, one is Built Right, one is a local General Air that is going to handle the HVAC, and one is a Tara Construction, which is going to handle the carpentry matters. And we know, that we have to stick with the good job policy, and that's our effort that we can do that.
Yes. Thank you for coming up.
So my name is Jeanette Kelly. I'm actually a pediatrician, very concerned with the health and well-being of our community. I also live on Dudley Street. Why are we not talking about condoizing the commercial space? Because I think when you're renting, you run into the same problems going forward. And for someone who is looking to do the business of wellness in my community, I'm looking for space that I can own and I can control.
Thank you. Sophia, and then we'll go to the back.
We are open to that. We'll be happy to work with people that would rather own than rent the retail space.
I apologize. Sophia. All right. Come on.
Hello, my name's Rene. My issue, even though I do live in the Fenway, it's still the same problem as you. I'm black, they treat me the same way. I'm derailed, so to speak. But my problem or question is, even though we're here, we want our businesses here, how is it that we can have the white people come in and honor us with their money, you see, to bring their income to us instead of always us going out there? You know what I mean? And job security in our homes, in our places. These condos, I don't know. My parents have a home. It's land. Condos, I don't know if you want to, if you can pass them to your children, or so on and so on. You're not going to get much of, well, I can go out, I can play. It's this, that, do you have an amenities to say, here's a swimming pool, here's a playground, here's something that you say, this is mine, it's mine, I'm going to pass it down, like you see outside of Boston, like in Newton, and all the others. So it's not only us to stay here, it's also let's bring other money in here so that we can stay here. And if we're going to have that we need that too. So that's what I want to know.
Nice one.
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because that's a real issue when it comes down to communities like Roxbury. You know, it's often this kind of extractive thing. Even some of us take our money and spend it in other places because there's not a lot of places to spend it here. But then when you create the kind of density through both housing, and then you give opportunities, whether condoized or not, for small businesses that are here to flourish and give them the skills and the tools and access to capital that actually helps them to succeed. Then you create not only the kind of place where people in our own communities want to spend our money, and lots of it, hopefully, but also you get folks from outside. It can become a destination, but it is still, what's really important is that there are local economic development opportunities that we are also in control of in our own communities. That's what I'm talking about.
We have time for one more comment, and Sophia, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, come on.
Hello, my name is Fikira, and I'm a member of UCB. My question is this: everyone speaks about, my voice is loud. Everyone speaks about income for housing. What about those who do not have income and is trying to get housing? What do y'all plan to do with those people who need housing but don't have the income to provide to pay the rent?
So we are intending to provide a number of rental units that would be set at a maximum of 30% of AMI. So as we had mentioned previous, for an individual would be earning about $22,000 annually, but it's important to remember that that's a maximum. So individuals that do have zero income or much less than that would be eligible to live in those units. They typically would just have an additional subsidy attached to them that stays with the unit.
The question is, what does the rent look like without a Section 8 or mobile voucher?
So again, it depends on what income tier you would fall into. I think you had asked earlier about a family of two between 60 and 100%. I think that if that's right.
Family of two earning $56,000, a parent and a child, or two individuals, two adults with a household of $90,000 left.
So the rent for those different scenarios would be about $1,400 a month up to about $1,900 a month.
Before we transition, I heard a couple people just so the question that is continuous is without no income or no subsidy.
So it obviously is very difficult if you don't have income or subsidy, but we're going to do our best to secure project-based subsidy so it ensures that those extremely low-income units stay affordable for the length of the project, regardless of who lives there. And again, as long as you make up to that maximum amount of level, we'll find a way to work with you, and you would be eligible to live in those units. So there is the option to have project-based subsidy in addition to a mobile voucher. So there are different options.
One thing just to note, in the request for proposal that will apply for all rental housing is D&D has got a homeless set-aside policy, so that gets to folks at or below 30% of area median income. So not only this development, but all other applicants would, at a minimum, meet that, and in some cases, we give incentives to exceed that. Before I transition to the next group, I don't want to leave without, I heard some people say, where is the parking? So let's go over just for a second to give them a chance to clarify where the parking is, and then we'll go to the fourth and final presentation.
Can you show the plan? Can you show the plan, please? The parking is going to be built on the B2 land area behind the project. It's going to be 3 stories parking for 250 units, and it can be expandable to many more if you know, we can get more funding to build more. It's going to be behind the B2 police stations. You see it on the back of the buildings. Okay. That's a 3 stories parking.
Thank you very much. We could follow up with that question. If there's a comment that anyone has on question or a question on that, we could follow up with the developer and post it on our D&D website within the next couple days. So we also have a comment card here as well. Let's Thank you very much, Teacher's Place. We're going to go to the fourth and final. We're now going to transition to the Trinity Financial proposal.